Welcome to Independence Rock, Wyoming. This is a really neat stop for us on the trip back home. It doesn't look that big when you're just driving by looking at the end of it here, but Independence Rock, the whole area, we're at about 6,000 foot elevation. The tallest point of the rock from the surrounding area is 136 feet. If you were to walk around the entire base of the rock, it's 5,900 feet, just over a mile. The area the rock covers is approximately 24.81 acres, so it's quite a large rock. The historical significance of this rock is the pioneers coming across the Oregon Trail would stop and camp here. A lot of folks say that it's called Independence Rock because if you reached the rock along the Oregon Trail on or before July 4th, you were almost guaranteed to make it to Oregon or California, your final destination before the winter set in, causing the Rockies to be completely unpassable. Others say that a party of fur trappers stayed here July 4th of 1824, and that's how it's got its name. Either way, this was a very popular stop for the pioneers along the Oregon Trail. And because of the smooth surface of the granite rock itself, folks were able to engrave their names into the rock. Either engraved them into the rock itself, or they used axle grease or other stuff they had on hand to either paint or carve names into the rock. This little thing we just showed was a gentleman that had been part of the Oregon Trail, came back through in the early 1900s, I think it was 1920s, and painted with axle grease on there, hoping that someone would come back through and chisel the inscription into it, and they never did. But you can still see some of the axle grease writing that he had done on there, kind of commemorating the Oregon Trail. When we first got there, some of the information I had found out was the northwest corner of the rock is where, quote, most of the signatures were. When we got to that area of the rock that people were saying is the most written on, we discovered this fence. And I know that the state park system is trying to preserve some of the history and other things with the rock. But, it was an interesting fence. It wasn't decorative in any way. It didn't feel right. And the interesting part of it is that it only covered a very small part of the rock. And signs were out there indicating that it was okay to climb the rest of the rock. And that if you did climb it, that you were taking your safety into your own hands because it's slick and it's dangerous and you could fall. Well, Sonia and I decided to climb it. And boy, was that a good idea. The formations on the top of the granite rock were just amazing. These small trails cut through. I mean, it almost seemed like some kind of movie set. This is all a natural formation. Once we got to the top, we found signatures everywhere. In fact, one of the signs just before we climbed up to the top was saying that be careful where you're walking because of the fact There's signatures everywhere. So we started exploring the top, and we were just coming across signature after signature after signature. It was just amazing. And some of them were really old. According to the Interstate Rock website, this Milo J. Ayer from 1842 is the oldest known signature on the rock. It was interesting to see pools of water up there with as hot and dry as it had been for quite a lengthy period of time, but you can still see snow in the hillsides, and it does take a while for all of it to evaporate. When we got up to the top, we decided to explore more towards the back of the rock. It took us a little while to find a way down. Some of the areas that were just obviously too steep. And even in the back areas here, we continued to come across signatures here and there. And the views were just amazing. Still kind of surprising to me that you can walk so close to so many signatures, but they have a small section fenced off like they do. If you are ever at Independence Rock, I strongly urge you, if you're capable of it, that exploring more around the rock to see some of this is a lot of fun. But just like the park itself tells you, if you do decide to climb it, be careful, because there are dangers up there. As we went further back in the rock, we were having a little bit of difficulty finding a way down, but it was still a lot of fun exploring it. We eventually found a fairly low-sloped area that we could crawl down on. I know it doesn't look too bad in the video, but it's still kind of steep, and there was a section of it that we actually crab walked going down on our hands and feet just to play it a little safe, so that's why there's no video of that area. It was a great stop. We had a lot of fun just exploring the area and seeing all the history. The scenery was also really nice. And great to get out of the truck and stretch our legs and see such an interesting part of history. You even found a inscription from Company F Cavalry. It was a lot of fun.
Beautiful rock formations. Good color.
The sign said elk were near the road, but we haven't seen any.
Because I got my camera out.
Yeah.
But we're hoping.
It's just too much. Man, that is cool. Here too. That's awesome.
Again, it's amazing how much snow when it's been 50, 60, 70 degrees for days.
This trip through Wyoming, we decided to take some different routes. We've driven through on the interstate several times. This time we decided to go some of the back routes and see parts of Wyoming we had never seen before. really enjoyed the trip there. Some really neat sights, some great scenery. Nice to see a different part of the state. Found a stop along the way that talked about the Oregon Trail. What I found really interesting is there was a short walk-around loop there off of the parking lot, and you could walk up to a marker that indicated where the actual trail was here through South Pass. And even after all of these decades have gone by, if you walk out to the marker and look both directions, you can still see the ruts from the Oregon Trail. As we drove this section of highway, you could see several places of the old Oregon Trail going through. So that was really interesting. And then we stopped at Granger Stage Station. This was a stage station back in the 1850s. It was originally called Ham's Fort. The stone building that's still there today was built in 1856. While it was a stage stop, a couple of the notable passengers that came through this area were Horace Greeley and Mark Twain. Later on in 1861 and 1862, this was used as a stop along the Pony Express Trail. And then in 1868, it was used by workers of the Union Pacific Railroad as they were working on the Transcontinental Railroad. It's a neat part of history. And as per our usual, because of how early we were on the season, it was all locked up and nobody was there to show us the inside. Though we did look through a window that we could see, and it looked kind of like just an empty building. I don't know if they put displays in there during the summertime or not. But kind of cool old building with a lot of cool old history.